Alright, hey everyone. I thought it might be time to give you guys an update as to what is going on with the boat now that I've owned it, for a little while, and can tell you guys about my experience with it so far. Excuse me for a second. Alright, so I did manage to get all of those little bits and pieces sorted out previously. So I mentioned that the outrigger wasn't going into the vertical position, the bait board door wasn't staying closed, so all that sort of stuff is sorted out. Some new things have emerged though, nothing major, but just if you have a look at this little yoke here or whatever they're called, it's kind of looks to me like it's bent forward. Have a look at that. So that's something interesting. I'll have to get that checked out. Everything else on the trailer is being very good. Adjusted the boat catch, it wasn't working so well, so that's now working absolutely perfectly every time. Let me have a think. Yeah, there's nothing else too much I can think of around here. But one issue that I do have at the moment is my transducer setup. So when I ordered the boat, basically there was a bit of a misunderstanding. I thought I was ordering the boat with a GT 54 high chirp transducer. That's one of those down scan, side scan type things, and a 185 high wide 1 kilowatt. Now, something along the lines of this happened. The quote came to me with a 185M medium chirp, and I responded back and scribbled on there high wide or something like that, and it was in an image attachment and it got missed. So what have I got? I have got a 185 medium chirp. Now, medium chirp, so I've given it a good go. Okay, I've given it a very good go. But the bottom line is, a medium chirp is not a good transducer for game fishing. So it's quite a deep water transducer. Goes very deep, but it's quite a narrow band, and you can pick up bait and things like that out on the shelf with it, okay, but I've tuned this thing with an inch of its life and you just won't mark actual fish. You won't get those nice arches from tuna or marlin or anything like that, and you barely get it on a low frequency as well. So my sort of experience with all these AMR 1 kilowatt transducers is as follows. Absolutely, if you're doing game fishing, trying to mark bait, schools of fish, pelagics, you absolutely want the 1 kilowatt high wide unit. The low unit, and which is really good at trolling speeds and decent speeds, but you've got to set it, okay, you've got to set the water column that you want to look at, so the top 100 meters or whatever, because it's not a very deep water transducer. If you set it to auto, it'll be constantly trying to ping and find the bottom, and the readings will be rubbish. So set it to say top 100 meters with a 1 kilowatt high wide, it'll be beautiful. You'll be able to tune it well. The low frequency doesn't work well at speed or at trolling speed. You see bugger all. It's quite good for deep dropping and things like that when you're basically stationary. At trolling speeds, it will hold bottom, but you won't see a whole great deal of returns. And I find the medium chirp is similar to the low chirp. It's more like the low chirp than it is the high chirp or the high wide. So basically, to summarize all of that, been going offshore, been finding bait and things sometimes, but not in enough detail. Haven't really been marking any of the fish or anything like that. So it's like going out fishing blind. So it's just hasn't worked out. So anyway, there was a bit of a misunderstanding with that install. So now I'm waiting on a TM275 low high wide to turn up, which is the transducer that I've had on pretty much all the boats I think that I've shown you guys on this channel. It is the one to go for. So that should solve that problem, but that's why I haven't been out fishing so much and haven't really been catching any fish when we have gone out. But anyway, in the boat here, I've removed the back seat just to have more kind of fishing room there when we're not, you know, going out up the river and things like that. I've also got these very cool combing rod racks made up, and they fit absolutely beautifully. They just sit on there, and you'll see the difference is here. You can actually fit 50 size game reels side by side. So I've had them custom made because all of the standard ones that you buy have about probably 150 mil or so between them. So I've made these 200 mil from the center of each of the rod holders, and it fits those rods perfectly. But look, apart from that, the boat has been really, really good. Like, let me tell you, it is an impressive boat on the water. But you do need to know how to drive it. You really do. So this boat, as I keep saying, it's got a lot of hull weight, plenty of hull weight for the size anyway. And you need to know how to drive it. If you're used to driving a boat fast and, you know, and bouncing over waves and things like that, this is just not the boat for that. This boat performs so much better when you keep the boat in the water, and I'll show you guys some more footage now. Boat handling beautifully. I don't know if you can hear, there's just no thud, no bang. And you don't need hardly any throttle control either in these type of conditions. So we've got about 10-15 knot wind. A bit as well, not too much, but it's munching through it. And the zip wakes itself, the zip wakes make a huge difference, not in terms of just left to right stability, but also when you're going up and down over waves. They keep the boat basically flat, so you're not doing this over the wave. It just makes the whole experience a hell of a lot better on this boat with the zip wakes. Got a few boats out there. So look, in total, I think I've done about, I don't know, it's probably around 35 hours now in the boat, and yeah, just those very minor niggling things. That's it so far, but yeah, the boat's been absolutely spot on. It's the best plate boat I've certainly ever owned by a long way, and people keep asking me, you know, how's it going and how's it compared to the Southerners? I've heard bad things and all that sort of stuff, and the bottom line is it doesn't compare. You know, you're talking a 1,390 kilo hull versus 1,180-ish kilos, substantial improvements around fishability, usability, features, hardtop design, the whole works. It is absolutely a totally different boat. Even though they might look similar, they're not similar. And this, you know, after owning this boat for about 9 months so far, I definitely stand by my previous statements. This is one of the best 7-meter plate boats that you can buy regardless of price. So if you are interested in them, yeah, I don't think you'd be disappointed. But look, I really need to get this transducer sorted, because at the moment, quite frankly, it just feels like I'm wasting my time going out there. That's why there hasn't been many fishing trips. I definitely have to get a good video done on the Yamaha, which has been amazing, and also the zip wake system, which is a game changer for this boat. And just quickly on the zip wakes, the zip wakes isn't a silver bullet for every single boat, so I think they work really well on this boat. There are some boats they don't work well on, so if you think about the principle of how they work, you really need your boat down in the water for them to work well. And I think they work better on boats that have some decent level of stability built in standard. So boats that have decently big chines and things like that. Boats that have very little chines, a lot of the times the manufacturers don't actually recommend them for their boats. So two other plate boats that I, talk about quite a lot, and I've owned many of. For a very long time, they wouldn't sell zip wakes on their boats, and they actually refused to. They didn't recommend them. They didn't say that they worked well, and I think they basically got pressured into it by customer demand. But I think the yellowfin hull works particularly well with the zip wakes because of the beam that it carries forward and because of the very wide chines underneath. That's why the zip wakes work well on this boat, and because of the hull weight. So I just want to be clear that I don't necessarily recommend everyone jumping out and buying a set of zip wakes. You really need to look into, what sort of setup you've got. All right, so that's about all that's going on at this point. So next stop, get that new transducer, and I'll let you guys know how that goes shortly, and then we'll get back out on the water. All right, chat soon.